Now here's your host, Bill Teegins.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's Eddie Sutton Show. What a great week for the Cowboys. They go 1-1 in the week, but two great games, exciting games. Cowboys now 17-7 overall, 7-2 in the Big 8 Conference. And, Coach, talk about exciting games. One win, one loss, but, boy, those games could have gone either way.
Well, you talk about a game of inches or a game of seconds or one missed shot or a shot that you hit. We go to Columbia last Saturday and lose 81-79 by 2 points, one possession. Last evening, or when we played Iowa State, we won a ball game by 2 points, and either one of those games could have gone either way. But we're really still in the hunt. Kansas is leading the conference at the present time with an 8-2 record. Missouri and our ball club are 7-2. And we felt like that was just an imperative game on Wednesday night to beat Iowa State, because by doing that, we have 3 out of our next 4 games here at home. And we feel like that we play extremely well here in Gallagher, Iowa. I think we're 61-4, and we'll be playing Saturday afternoon against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So a great win. It was a great basketball game in Ames. I thought both teams played exceptionally well. We've got highlights of both the Missouri and Iowa State games coming up.
And they're great ones to show you. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll go to Columbia and then to Ames, Iowa, when the Eddie Sutton Show continues. Welcome back to the Eddie Sutton Show. A rough week, at least road trip-wise, but the Cowboys came out pretty well. First of all, we'll go to Columbia, Missouri, and that's always a tough place.
Tough place for anyone to go in there. And, of course, Missouri always has a good ball club, and I guess that's one reason it's tough. You know, their philosophy is very similar to ours. Norm Stewart believes in the man defense, take care of the basketball, good shot selection. In this game in the first half, neither team, I didn't think, played that well, didn't shoot it exceptionally well. And a lot of times that's a result of good defense, and there's a good follow shot by Randy Rutherford. Randy's our second leading rebounder, and sometimes, even though he's playing guard, we let him go to the offensive board and drop a forward back.
Well, you've had Scott Pierce step up, and we're going to want Randy. First of all, let's talk about him. What an outstanding game. He has 30 points, firing in from all over the place again.
Well, they were really concentrating on Brian. Of course, Brian got in foul trouble, and for the game, I think he was only 4 out of 11. You can see right there, he was surrounded, and there was a good follow shot by Jason Scare, and Jason continues to improve. We talk about Pierce improving, but so is Keontae Roberts and Jason Scare, and Andre Owens probably more than anyone has helped our ball club become much better. He's really developed into, I think, maybe the second best point guard in the conference. Everybody thinks that Vaughn at Kansas is, but I tell you, Owens has really been playing wonderful basketball for us.
13 assists against Iowa State, but here he is, and he started to hit that three-point shot.
He can get set. He's a very good three-point shooter. It takes him a little bit longer to, focus in than maybe it does Randy Rutherford, but he's a good three-point shooter. There's Keontae Roberts getting a putback.
Here's Andre with the penetration. You'd like to see that.
That was a tough shot for sure, but it went in the hole. That's one of those you say, no, that's a good shot, Andre.
And there's Randy again. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trays, I think, didn't he? 5 trays. And that one, 30 points in the game. Defense awfully tough in this game. Here you come up with a nice play. Not much doubt.
That was a controversial call now. They awarded us the basket, but it's certainly on the part of Missouri, they had a gripe coming because it could have been called either way. And it seemed like to me that may have changed the complexion of the game. You know, they shot 3 free throws the first half, and we shot 9. In the second half, they shot 37, and we ended up shooting 10. So in the second half, they got a lot of friendly calls go their way.
Hey, well, that was a game that down the stretch you wondered if it was ever going to end. But you guys got behind and were able to come back thanks to some great shooting and good clock management.
Well, they got ahead of us 9 or 10 points there when we had to put Brian on the bench in foul trouble. And but we did display a lot of courage the way we fought back. And we set up some spatial three-point shots, and Randy was able to convert. I think Jason Scary hit a 3 for us, and we got all the way back to 2 points with 4 seconds to go, and ran out of timeouts. and they were able to inbounds the ball and run the clock off.
And here's a foul on Country. Haley is much better than he was even when we played them a couple weeks ago.
Well, I think it's one of the reasons Missouri has improved as a basketball team. The Haley twins have developed. I think Sammy might be a little further advanced than his brother, but it certainly gives them good size. And they have a good basketball team. They've got good athletes. Olini's one of the best guards in the conference. Sutherland's a very good player. Winfield, last week's player of the week in the Big 8, a very good athlete, good rebounder for his size. So Missouri's good. I mean, they're not quite as talented as they were last year when they won the league, but they're a very good basketball team, and for some reason we just never play as well up there as we do at a lot of places on the road. Nice good play by Scott Pierce.
Well, you guys, again, you battled back. I mean, it looked desperate there for a little bit, and you guys just kept working the ball around, and you said hit some key three-point shots, and the effort certainly was there. It could have gone either way.
There's Andre Owens hitting a tray. We had a hard time getting the ball into Bryant in this ball game. Same way in the first half at Ames. Everybody concentrates their efforts on Bryant. I think that's one reason why last week I came out and made mention that nobody's a bigger target than Bryant Reeves. When you get ready to prepare for us, you certainly have to take a look at him first. And he's getting double and triple teamed all the time, and yet he's leading the league in scoring and rebounding and field goal percentage. He did that as a sophomore and was the MVP of the league, and that was the first time that anyone had done that since Wilt Chamberlain back in 1957. So Bryant Reeves is having an outstanding year. It just doesn't seem possible that 4 years ago he came here, but the remarkable progress he's made is unbelievable. I've never had a player improve as much as Big Country.
And here you're working the clock. You see the amount of time left, and the Cowboys really putting some pressure on, get the steal.
That ball right there could have gone either way when you look at the film and slow it down, but it went in Missouri's favor. And there you see Sutherland's call for a charge there off the ball. And Randy Rutherford hits these two free throws, and now we're up to 81-79. There's 4-point-some seconds left, 4.4. And Brian doesn't come up and deny, and they were able to get the ball in bounds, and that's a ball game. So we ended up the season with Missouri splitting with them. We may have a good shot at playing them again in Kansas City in the Big 8 tournament here in about 3 weeks.
Talk about what you said to the team going into Iowa State, because you just alluded to the fact it was imperative that you win that game.
Well, we've been a good road team here at Oklahoma State, and if you're going to win the league, you've got to go on the road and win 3 or 4 games. I don't think anyone's going to go undefeated. Missouri did last year, but I'm not sure anyone will ever do it again. But we felt like going into last week, Missouri and Iowa State, 2 tough places to play, that we needed to. I didn't tell the squad this because you want to go in and win both of them, but I told our staff if we can get out of there with a split, then we're still in great shape, because on the loss side, we're the same as Kansas and Missouri. And so it was a big pressure game at Iowa State. And I told our squad, I was very honest with them, I said, if you guys want to continue to shoot for the ring in the Big 8 championship, this is imperative we win this ball game. And I thought we really played well. I thought this was one of the best played games and one of the most exciting games that we've been involved in all year. And I was teasing you and Tom Dirato before the game. I had a lot of people tell me this week that you guys really got excited, but that was an easy game to get excited over. Great defensive play here by Andre Owens.
Bryant, we just saw, picked up his second foul within 4 minutes of the beginning of the game. Obviously, that changes the way he can play.
Anytime the big fella has to come over and be seated next to me, it changes our basketball team a great deal.
But even when he's in after that, he's got to be so careful that at least defensively, he it's a tough thing.
He's learned to play pretty well when he does get in foul trouble, and you have to sometimes give up a basket in order not to pick up a foul. And as he's matured as a player, I think he's learned to do that better. Randy Rutherford was defended very well in this ball game. He ended up I think that's the only basket he got all evening. There's Scott Pierce. They were doubling up down low. Meyer and Mikalik were really making it tough to get the ball to Bryant. That's a great pass from Andre to Keontae Roberts. Keontae had 3 baskets in this ball game. Great effort by Pierce. Stays after it. And there's Bryant Reeves' only basket of the first half. He ended up 11 for 12 in the game, 10 out of 11 in the second half. Well, it's a great hustle play by Pierce and a nice pass. 3 of the top 4 scorers in the Big 8, I think Hoiberg, Rutherford, and Reeves were all held combined. They had 11 points in the first half, so the defense was excellent on our part. On Hoiberg, he ended up with 20, and Bryant ended up with 25. But it was tough to get shots that first half, and we get to intermission with a 1-point lead, so we beat them 1 point in each half.
So what do you do now? What do you talk to the team about to get Reeves more
Here's
involved?
what we talked about at halftime. I told Brian he was going to have to get more active because a lot of times when you get double teamed like that, and so we ran this play for him right here so he could get started in the second half. We call it 3-box reverse, and he hit that shot. But we told him it's a great dunk by Terry Collins. We told him he had to be more active. Sometimes when you're not getting the basketball, you have a tendency to get kind of listless. Your dauber goes down because you're not getting the basketball. Good job here breaking the press. So he became much more active, but I think 2 other things happened. Scott Pierce stepped up and hit some jumpers right there at the between the free throw line and the top of the circle, forced them to come out and cover him. Another great pass by Andre to Bryant Reeves. And the other thing, Andre Owens had 13 assists in the game, and he was able to break the defense down, penetrate, and then kick the ball off to Bryant. So it was a combination, but he had a great second half.
Boy, he sure did. He finished with 25, 22 of those in the second half. Now, you got up by 10 late in the ball game, and then it was just hanging onto your hat.
You know, we played there the last 4 years, and all 4 games have been decided by 2 points or less. Good defensive play by Terry Collins. And we were up 10 with about 2 to go, and one would have thought the game was over, but Hoiberg and Beecham came back and hit 3 threes on us, and we turned the ball over a couple times, missed a couple free throws, and all of a sudden it comes down to the last shot of the game, and when Mikalik takes a shot, I thought, oh no, it's another Michigan State repeat, because that's how they beat us in East Lansing. But our guys played with a lot of poise and really battled. And Iowa State, they too played a good game. I thought they shot 59%, we shot 57%. The rebounding was about even. They had, I think, 3 more turnovers than we did. But just an excellent college basketball game.
Well, here's the 10-point lead as we're heading down the stretch. Cowboys up by 10 at 64-54. Good ball movement right here.
Sure is. If you get the ball down to Bryant that low, good things are going to happen.
Look at Beecham here. That's an unbelievable shot.
That
right
defense
there.
is as good as you can put on someone, and here they come back again. And this
now
Hoiberg hits that, and when you slow the film down, and I'm not being critical of the officials, but you'll see that they call the foul, but it actually wasn't a foul. But you know it is a foul because they made the call. But we get the ball back down low, and I think at this point we're still up 4 points. And here they strip Bryant of the basketball, and Hoiberg goes in and dunks it. And you can see about 35 seconds now. You don't need to score more points because the clock's going to run out, but they're going to foul you.
There are 14,000 screaming fans right
Great
there.
Great crowd. I think Hilton Coliseum's the best arena in our conference, and the fans are excellent. Great rebound by Randy Rutherford. Andre Owens missed the free throw, but Randy went and got the ball back, and now they foul him, and he's a clutch player. He's going to hit those free throws.
The only 2 points he had in the second half, he hits those key free throws.
Yeah, he helps a lot of other ways. He only got 7 shots up because they just dogged him all over the court, face guarded him. It was tough for him. And look at this shot.
Yeah. Well, what do you do with that?
Well, you can't do any more than what Randy did. He was right on top of Beecham. You certainly don't want to foul a 3-point shot. Now it's down to 1 point. That was close to being an intentional foul there, and but they call it 1-1. And Scott goes up and hits the most important one. He hit the first one. He told me that the next day after the game, he said, I thought I had that other one, and here they come.
Yep, here we go.
Andre's doing a good job keeping the dribbler in front of him, and there's Mikalik.
Miss it.
Barely misses it, and that's the ball game, and we walk away 71-69, and we're still in the hunt in the Big 8.
17-7 and 7-2 in the conference, and 71-69 the final. Coach, never in doubt. When we come back, there's a lot of people who are important to Oklahoma State basketball, and we're going to take a look at one of the guys behind the scenes when the Eddie Sutton Show continues. Welcome back to the Eddie Sutton Show. You know, a lot of times the health of a basketball team is taken for granted, but that's obviously a full-time job. And in our off-the-court feature this week, Dirato takes a look at the people involved in keeping the Cowboys healthy.
By the time you see him seated on the end of the Oklahoma State bench, most of his work has already been done. From making sure the pregame meal comes off without a hitch, to taping the players, to handling any last-minute health problems. Steve York is a very busy man during those hectic hours before tip-off. Steve, it appears that you finally do get a chance to catch your breath once the player introductions are made.
Yeah, usually most of my work is done before the fans see any of the athletes out on the court. We start usually about an hour, hour and a half before game time, get everybody taped up and hot packs on and ultrasounds done before we even get out on the court. Well, there are a lot of responsibilities that don't necessarily fall under what you would normally think. Set up pregame meals and sometimes have to give directions to bus drivers and a lot of different things.
Sometimes they don't always follow them.
No, that's true. Sometimes they don't.
Well, Steve, it is a time-worn cliche, but you're faced with this every day, making the call between playing with pain and not playing at all due to injury.
Well, yes, it is, because you're having to make it on the spot a lot of times. You don't have the privilege of diagnostic evaluations such as x-rays or MRIs, and it's a decision that you have to make, usually under stress because the athlete wants to get back in, the coach wants the athlete back in, so you have to use your best judgment.
Steve, you never know when or how many times you'll be needed throughout a game. With the new rule about bleeding, you and your colleagues have an even greater role to stop that blood flow and get the youngsters back on the court.
Well, with all the interest in stopping any bloodborne pathogen type diseases that are out today, you always have to be ready to take care of any instance in which blood might be involved. We're guarded by the OSHA standards as far as taking care of any injury that has blood with it. So we have a set protocol in which we follow.
Now, you spent some time on the high school level, and this too is a growing field. It doesn't seem all that long ago really when coaches were taping ankles and trying to diagnose any kind of injury.
Well, that's true, and I think with the coaches that I've worked with in the past, one of the comments that they usually make is that they can't believe how much it frees them up during the ball game to have an athletic trainer on hand so that they don't have to deal with injuries and they can be concentrate on the play that they want to call next.
What about on the high school level now? This is relatively new, wouldn't it, to have full-time trainers?
Yes, it is. And in the state of Oklahoma, the majority of the bigger schools have athletic trainers now, whether it's a trainer at their own site or they utilize a clinic to supply them with a trainer. But most of the major schools in Oklahoma have one now.
Would you recommend this field to someone who wants to stay close to this athletic experience?
Yes, I would. About 50% or so of the field nowadays are female, so it's open to both sides. It's probably one of the most progressive as far as females in advancement of any of the fields out there. If you enjoy working outdoors, being around athletics, it's a very enjoyable profession. You got to be willing to put in a lot of hours.
You know, much like an athlete who returns to his alma mater, you've completed that cycle. And I would think that means a little bit more when the Cowboys win, or hurts a little bit more when they lose.
Well, I have it from both aspects. I'm an employee of the university and I'm also alumni, so I do root a little bit more, I guess, or hurt a little bit more when we lose, being an alumnus of OSU.
Another great feature by Tom, and I might say this, we have a lot of people that work behind the scenes that never are given enough recognition, and they really do some things that allow us to be victorious. I've had a lot of trainers at all the places I've coached, but Steve York is as good and maybe the best that we've ever had. He does do a lot of things, and that's one of the reasons we've been able to win a lot of ball games. He keeps them healthy. I think he's a little bit of a psychologist too, which you have to be. But we're very, very pleased that Steve York's part of our family.
Yeah, Steve's a great guy. When we come back, we'll take a look at what's ahead for the Cowboys when the Eddie Sutton Show continues. And welcome back to the Eddie Sutton Show. The Cowboys back home. It'll be nice to be back in Gallagher, Iowa.
It's always great to be there, but it's going to be super. We play the Cornhuskers, of course, Saturday afternoon, and then we play K-State next Wednesday. And, you know, this past week, there were only 3 games played, and all 3 visiting teams won, which is really unusual in the Big 8. We won at Columbia.
Right.
And
at Ames.
At Ames, and Kansas was victorious at Lincoln, and the University of Oklahoma went to Colorado and won. But let's take a look at the schedule for this upcoming week.
Well, there's
the standings.
Yep.
Yeah, and you can see Kansas played one more game than the Tigers and ourselves. But basically, when you get to that point, and you're on the loss side, you're pretty just about dead even. So we're still in the hunt, like I said earlier. But you can see the rest of the teams. Boy, the Big 8 is tough. I don't think there's a weak team. The Big 8 tournament is going to be the best I think we've ever seen it.
And we've had some great ones. Well, let's take a look at what's ahead in the coming week.
We play a second game Saturday. Kansas is at Kansas State. And the Wildcats always play the Jayhawks very tough there in Manhattan. I don't think they've won there in about 13 or 14 years. But they're the type of team that could upset Kansas. Colorado's at Iowa State. And Iowa State has 9 days off between that game and when they come back here to play. So they're going to have a lot of time to prepare for the Cowboys. And Missouri's at Oklahoma, and that'll be a real good basketball game. Oklahoma plays extremely well at home. And then on Monday, Kansas makes their trip down to Oklahoma. Kansas this weekend finishes their road trips. They play at Manhattan on Saturday and at Norman on Monday night. K-State is here in Stillwater on Wednesday. Nebraska's at Missouri, and Colorado hosts University of Washington, which is a little strange to be playing a non-conference game this late in the year.
What about Nebraska? Now let's talk quickly about the Huskers.
Well, Nebraska's at a point where they really need to win some games. I think they have a couple games left at home and 3 on the road, K-State, Missouri, and our place. And if they're going to get in the NCAA tournament, I think they're going to have to win the 2 at home and at least win one of them on the road. They're a dangerous team, Bill, because they shoot the ball so well. They're a team that depends so much on perimeter shooting. Boone, Strickland are 2 outstanding players, and when they're in the groove, they can score a lot of points. So I know our ball club, knowing that we are in the race, they're not going to overlook Nebraska. We have great respect for them. We played a whale of a game the first time when we beat Nebraska in Lincoln.
Well, Coach, good luck. And again, fans, don't forget, it's Saturday afternoon, 2:50 is tip-off at Gallagher-Iber. For Coach Sutton, I'm Bill Teegins. So long, everybody.